was about to ask, did anyone actually remember that The Sims 4 had turned 10 years old this year? But then The Sims actually didn't even remember that it turned 10 years old this year. However, I actually started my channel a year before The Sims 4 came out. So back on the 15th of December 2013, I uploaded my first YouTube video the day before I went and got a desk and an office chair from IKEA, and I knew that I wanted to make Sims content. Obviously, I started with The Sims 3, considering Sims 4 wasn't a thing. However, I don't really have my old saves currently installed on my Sims 3, so I decided today, why not go through my gallery over on The Sims 4, all the Sims that I have pretty much ever created in Create Sim, but then also unlock some new sleep paralysis demons for us all, rope those skeletons out of their closets, like I did to myself in 2016, and actually have a look at the Sims that I've created with CC, but install them into my Sims 4 without custom content. I truly apologize for what you are about to witness. Maybe this should have been a Halloween video, but I am definitely excited about this. It's time to roast my Sims without custom content. This video could also just be called influencing you to get custom content, because Sims look so much better with it than without. In my opinion, some people are very, very talented at making Sims without custom content. I personally do not think I am one of them. Whenever I record these kind of videos, I always wish that we had a sort by oldest. I want to say I held off downloading custom content for like at least the first 6 months when it came to The Sims 4. And that was because Sims 3, obviously the graphics were very different to The Sims 4. Sims 4 is extremely cartoony in comparison to The Sims 3, and Sims 3 had more of a alpha type situation going on with like hairstyles and skins, whereas Maxis Match, which is kind of the custom content that matches the art style of The Sims 4, really didn't start to gain popularity, I want to say, until at least like 2015 and late into 2015. And that was because a lot of the custom content creators were originally from The Sims 3 and they just came over to The Sims 4 to then start like transferring hairstyles. Lester were probably one of the first Sims that I actually used custom content, but I feel like I didn't even have skins at this point. I feel like it was just their hair. Nightcrawler, absolutely love your work, bestie. Always have, literally always will. I was obsessed with this nose for masculine Sims. I used to have such an art style when it came to creating Sims. And don't get me wrong, I still do. I know people say that they suffer with same face syndrome when it comes to creating Sims. I personally have always preferred to look at it as an art style. It's just the way that you design Sims. Just like an artist draws in a certain way. And mine has shifted definitely over the years. I used to be very much like absolute sharp jawline. I mean, oh my goodness gracious me. I used to do like feminine jawlines so like this, which just makes The Sims look so ratty. I like to think that I've grown out of that. The fact that she had alpha hair and then this outfit. Ooh, Autumn, I did you so dirty. This one is always heartwarming because the Cranks were my very first household that I started to play a Let's Play with all the way back in 2014. Obviously, at the beginning, they just kind of had all base game assets. And once they had grown up a bit, I started entering my CC era, as you can tell from all of the Nightcrawler hairs. Clearly, this one was a favorite. My little scene kid was coming out. This is how you know I loved lights, and I also spent a really big part of my formative years on Tumblr. Again, I don't really think at this point I had like any skin details, and I wasn't really playing around with that too much. It was predominantly hairstyles that were available, but for the longest time I tried to really hold off downloading custom content that was outfit based, so I was still using very heavy Maxis stuff. Again, with the nose, they all look so similar. Love of my life, Avery Crank blank. I really said, you know what? He had the best genes of all. He doesn't even need custom content to be a good looking sim, and I stand by that. He was the OG Nick Nelson. When did the Heartstopper comics come out? Because I swear Alice Osman may have been influenced by me. I really hate this creator sim bug that's been going on recently, like pretty much since Life and Death, where it just takes absolutely ages for a sim to spawn in down here. Create a sim, get it together. Don't you know you're my comfort option for The Sims 4? What? That was a jump scare. Oh my god. Louise! I just think I remember Louise being like the baby of the family. Oh my word. You know what? The Nina and Dina Caliente of it all. Actually, that is offensive to the Sims 2 Calientes. Maybe we'll stick with the Sims 4 base game before the refresh Calientes. Love her, but she looks like an alien before aliens were introduced in Get to Work. This endless scrolling is just reminding me that I actually need to do such a big overhaul on my library. I need to go through and delete so many of these Sims, but I just wish that the gallery was better. I wish that you could choose multiple families and like mass delete them. Now this is actually where I did start to use like custom skins and custom skin tones, and also their eyes. I feel like this is so terrifying because you never ever know what the like EA proportions are gonna be under the CC versions. Is this just gonna fully ruin the sim for me? Yeah. She was so based off Chloe from Pitch Perfect, which like makes sense because I was fully in my Pitch Perfect era. I was obsessed. Nice to know that things haven't changed in those like what, 8 years since Young Guns came out? 9 years, because I am once again thoroughly obsessed with Arcane. So, you know, still have my media obsessions. I feel like Haley was very much inspired by a masculine sim that I once created. I'm sure you're all well aware of him. His name, I think, was Johnny in my Get Together Let's Play, and these were out around the same time. And he had like really mouse-like features. Again, he had that masculine nose that I was absolutely obsessed with. And I think I created Haley kind of based off him, because then I used the exact same sim for her younger brother. My calculations were correct. The Kristen Chenoweth fact that they all look so different without custom content is horrifying. I just think it's absolutely wild how much custom content and even just like custom skins and stuff can kind of change the dimensions of your Sim's face. And I don't actually even know the scientific reasoning behind that. Is it because of the shadowing? So when like you go back to the EA default skin, like the shadowing looks so much different. She has the tiniest face I have ever seen. Her face just feels so like looks snatched, like someone has just like scooped it all together. The game definitely catfished me on that one. I thought she was gonna have a much bigger forehead, but imagine if we put one of the life and death hairs on her. Pink, is that you? Why is this hair so big? Nina, vote me out. Vote me out. I know you're gonna do it. Vote me out. A serve. Nowadays, I would definitely like make her face a little bit wider, just because I feel like with her eyes, it was all a little bit too like squished, and I probably would bring her down a little bit more, but she is still stunning. Absolutely the best looking sim so far. Ooh, my city living sims. I haven't really checked these out actually since I did this series. One looks totally different than I remember him being. Such tiny feet. Why did I give this man such small feet? Lord Farquaad looking ass. He was so hot. I do find it weird that it doesn't keep the skin tone of your sim. Even when you've set it on a custom skin, she so far has been like the best, like well proportioned sim, I think, out of every single one. We have another cookie cutter sim, which actually, to be fair to myself, does make sense for this man in particular, because he was just like that very cookie cutter, like he grew a very privileged life growing up. Why is he kind of giving Max Verstappen? Also, just the bro outfit is so funny to me. I love a blue shirt, pink shorts moment. With a name like Harvey Harrell, I feel like you can't not be in a fraternity. In 2014, I loved a Boeing shoe. Speaking my truth, I actually think they were very comfortable. I also thought Toms were very comfortable. This was 2017. This was 3 years after The Sims 4 had initially come out. This is when I feel like I actually really started to play around, or maybe say living with facial structures, like bone structures, how people looked, how they could look different from one another. I think that was because of The Sims 3. I had such a style that I loved in The Sims 3 that I feel like I was trying to kind of replicate that or create a version of that in The Sims 4 that just never really worked out. But obviously we had that sim, and then Vampires came out, and I used that same facial structure pretty much for Jory. Was her name Jory, my vampire? And then I played with her again in another current household when I was doing a laundry day family, and I can't find it now, but then I also played with her in my jungle adventure let's play. Iris was so cool, man. I absolutely loved her. And then Rory, and then we had Rags, the invisible friend. Imaginary friend. Why did I say invisible? This default skin tone is really taking me out. This version of Ice looks nothing like my Sims 3 version. I want to see Rags, because I feel like Rags is gonna look really different without custom content. Turns out Sims 4 has actually made Rags imaginary again. We thought that we didn't have imaginary friends, and yet here we are. This glitch is making every sim imaginary. Heyday family, they were such little cuties, but I actually think these are going to be quite interesting. In 2019, I was heavy into custom content. I was using Xmirror's skin tones at this point because I was sick of the lack of range of skin tones that The Sims 4 had. But I'm interested to see actually what Quincy looks like, because I feel like he was a sim who had completely different facial features to like any other sim I had basically created by this point. Got comfortable with using like nose masks. I had different default skins. I was obviously, like I said, using those different skin tones. Definitely not as different as I was kind of expecting him to be. I honestly think if I put a hairstyle on him that kind of matched the one that he originally had, his nose pretty much is the only thing that has really changed, and that's more because of like the definition of his nose. Yeah, he's still the cutie he always was. This family was actually inspired by Lionel. I actually didn't make the dads until I had made Lionel, and Lionel was just kind of an off-screen sim. I used to do this so much, but I would just kind of play around in Create a Sim. Obviously, I haven't done it very recently because for the last 4 years, if I felt like messing around in Create a Sim, it's usually been for one of my townie makeovers. And then if I landed on one where I was like, okay, this sim is too cute and I actually do have to play as them, that's when I tended to get like let's play ideas, or was like, okay, I need to come up with a let's play that can kind of surround this character. Even as a EA what the heck? How are you such a cute sim? How was I able to get you looking like this even with all the EA defaults? You're such a little cutie patootie. You know a sim is one of the most gorgeous sims you've ever created when they still look good without custom content. Like, I don't actually know how that is possible. Back in 2014, 2015, I was giving my sims the smallest eyes possible, and you can see that somewhere along the lines I was like, you know what, that's not gonna work for me anymore. I like the big old eyes. They just feel like warm hugs to me. Not me giving away all my Create a Sim secrets. It's time to check out some of those townie makeovers. We're gonna go for the Goths first. A cultural reset. I absolutely adore my townie makeover of them. I'm so scared that this is gonna ruin it. I know that they look good with custom content, and I know that I shouldn't be very affected by what they look like without it. Bella? Shockingly, you're still really, really cute. And I definitely think that's because of the custom content I use nowadays. So even over the period of like 2014, I was using like alpha, I was using a lot of like shiny skins, a lot of skins that looked very different from obviously the Maxis Match style. And then it got to like 2017, Maxis Match had definitely become bigger. A lot more people were getting into Maxis Match creation. And not that I have anything against alpha. Honestly, I think it's ridiculous that people critique alpha users or like call people out for using alpha or like start these CC wars about which custom content is better. Like, which custom content is better is which custom content you prefer. I'm so happy that there are so many different types of custom content, so many different custom content creators. I've never understood it. I will never understand it. But I personally just prefer Maxis Match because it matches the style of my game a bit more and I like that cohesiveness. Hence why I wanted to do these townie makeovers, so that I could kind of put more of my own spin on those Sims and they'd look more like my Sims, so my Sims didn't look like completely out of place in the world. But that obviously meant that I went to a kind of very much softer skins and I was using like skin blends that were Maxis Match. They didn't have like the built-in sharp facial structures I feel like a lot of the alpha ones that I used to use have. So they kind of just look more EA anyway from the get-go. Bella is stunning. I would be so happy if this was the Bella Goth that we had in the game. I feel like my masculine Sims always look much worse without custom content, but I honestly think that's just because, one, he is an adult, so therefore he has like the lines in his face, which I actually like. You know what? No, that is an attractive man. If he still had a mustache and still looked like Mortimer, okay, Daddy Goth, a literal copy and paste of Bella. Morty's genetics really didn't even stand a chance. And then little Alexander obviously doesn't have his glasses on, does have his dad's nose more so than Cassie does. Probably the first ones that I made over in my townie makeovers because I wanted to make them look more like their my Sims. And I did use like pretty heavy custom content on these guys. I remember using like nose masks. I obviously used an awful lot of blush. I fear Travis may be a jump scare to the eyes, so I'm gonna just like peek out. Not as bad as I was anticipating. He does just look like he has a little blockhead, which is fine because he's based off of my Sim, and you know what? All my Sims have blockheads, so I find endearing about them. Liberty Lee definitely doesn't look half as cool as she does with my custom content. Again, I was using a nose mask on her, and I also think I used a nose preset, and they always look better, obviously, when you have that within your game. Why do you weirdly look like Bella Goth? You don't really look like that when you have custom content on. I guess it's just because I do now use like fuller cheeks. Where I used to do my cheeks to look like they had been cut by a Greek god, I was really influenced by that one Lady Gaga line in American Horror Story. But I have finally learned to round out my cheeks. I'm scared about my growing together family. I swear I've seen these two without custom content before now, and they have absolutely terrified me. They were such cuties with custom content, and I know that it's him. She kind of looks like she has a little pea head right now, but I promise with some hair on, it kind of adds some like weight to her head. The only thing I feel like she is missing is the skin blend that I use, whereas Jude looks like a fetus, which is wild because I just don't think my default skin looks that different from like EA default, but I know that I could never ever live without it. From this like pre-pubescent teenager to, you know, at least a man who looks like he pays taxes. I do think the facial hair helps him though. Eyes are probably one of the most disappointing factors about The Sims 4. Like, I will always use this darker brown just because I think it looks the best out of all the eye colors that we have. I think if I could have a refresh to anything, don't get me wrong, I think having hair be on like a color wheel would be great for the game and for character creation, but I think eyes genuinely need a refresh. Like, we need need more colors, and we just need the eyes to look more full of life, because I think the EA default eyes look so lifeless. They kind of make every sim look like an android. This has quickly gone from me roasting my sims without custom content to just roasting creator sim, which, you know what, I love her, but we do have a love-hate relationship, and I feel like she needs to be brought down to earth every so often. I think I've stared at these naked and bald sims enough though. Honestly, as soon as we got that highlighter in The Sims 4, I was like, this is gonna change everything, and it did. That one nose highlight that adds like the little bit of sheen to your sims, I use it on every single sim I ever do. Every townie makeover I do, every single sim I create, masculine, feminine, and I genuinely think my sims have looked so much better for it. So thank you, Peachy Fairy, for being the one to deliver all of my hopes and dreams and actually making my sims serve and making them feel more alive. If we could get a blush that looks like my custom blush, I genuinely don't think I'd make a sim that I ever regretted making ever again. But thank you all so much for being here. If you've been here for the whole flipping 11 years that I've been making content, or you joined yesterday, I appreciate you all so much for the comments, the love, connecting with my characters, like enjoying finding my videos helpful, anything that has ever made you connect to this channel. Whether it's me, the topics I talk about, or my sims and how I represent my sims and the stories that I tell within the game, I genuinely cannot thank you enough for being here over the past 11 years. I have had an absolute blast with this channel, and I love you all so flipping much. Whether it's over here, whether it's on Twitch, wherever you are supporting me, just know that I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. I hope I haven't given you all too many nightmares by showing you these sims. I just kind of love doing these videos every year so that we can have a little walk down memory lane together, and I can kind of talk about the last 10 years of playing The Sims 4. Next February is going to be 25 years of playing The Sims, just like as a whole. Not gonna lie, kind of hoping that they put The Sims 1 and The Sims 2 available on the EA app, but we shall see. Go on, give us The Sims 2 Ultimate Collection. I know you want to. I appreciate you all very much. Let me know who some of your favorite Sims were throughout the years. Let me know who you are most shocked by without custom content. I appreciate you all so much, and I will speak to you all in my next one. Bye now.